does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to check out Sorry from Hasbro Gaming. This is for ages 6+. It's for 2 to 4 players. It'll take, I don't know, about 10-15 minutes to play. And this is not your classic version of Sorry. They have tweaked some of the rules. They have added the fire and ice power-ups. Did they make the game better? Did they make the game worse? Or did they just kind of step to the side? Let's open it up. I'll show you what's new, how it works, then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what's going to get inside of Sorry. So first and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule booklet. It's one page, double-sided, pretty short. It should have you up and running pretty quickly. I wish there was an FAQ to answer 3 or 4 questions that will arise, like what happens if a piece gets both the fire and the ice on it. But overall, it's a pretty well-done rule booklet that should have you up and going pretty quick. So in Sorry, it's the classic game where you're going to be trying to get all of your pieces from the start to your home, but it won't be that easy because other people will be sliding and bumping you back to your start and also landing on you and bumping you back to your start. Now, before we get started, and I'll show you how to play the game, I want to show you what is different about this version of the game from the old version of the game, because there are a couple big differences. First, there's only 3 pieces that you have to get from start to home. It used to be 4. I'm assuming they did this to shorten the game, which is always a pretty good thing. The next big change is that you no longer need a 1 or a 2 card to get out of your start spot. It used to be you had a 1 or a 2, and that was the only way to get out of your start spot, so you'd be drawing cards and be like, oh, I can't get a 1 or a 2. They got rid of that. Now, any positive number will get you out and moving. The last big change is, of course, the fire and the ice tokens right here, which will get utilized whenever someone draws a 1 or a 2 card, and I'll show you how those work in a second. But what you need to know are these are sort of like a really good special ability and a really bad special ability you put on other people. So how does the game work? It's really simple. On your turn, you are going to draw 1 card. You're going to do exactly what that card says. So for instance, this card says move forward 3. So you take any one of your 3 pieces and you get to move it forward 3. 1, 2, 3. That's your turn. Simple as that. Now let's go over to the red over here. 8. Move forward 8. Pretty self-explanatory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you may also notice that there's slides all around the board. If you land on the black part of a slide and your color matches one of the 3 colors on the slide, then you get to slide from here to there. If you run into someone while sliding, then they get bumped all the way back to their start. So let's just pretend that this green guy was right here and red comes up and slides, then woo! Bump that green all the way back to its start. There are only 3 colors on each slide. I think that's just so you don't ever slide past your home area right here. So let's continue onward. So here we go. We got our first 1. Whenever a 1 or a 2 pops up, you're going to be using the fire and the ice. So for this one, it says move ice, then move forward 1. So what does the ice do? This is the ice token right here. And if green got this, they would always want to put it on a different color, nearly 99.99% of the time. So they would put it on this red guy right here. So what happens to this red guy over here? Well, also they get to move 1 space, so boom, they would move 1 space. The red guy now cannot move this piece. That piece is completely immobile. No one can bump him, no one can land on him, no one can move him. He cannot even move himself. So let's just pretend that the red guy has both of his pieces back at home and he draws this 10. Move forward 10 or move backwards 1. He can't move that piece. It is frozen in place. So while it's good because it means that no one's going to bump you back to your start area, it's also really bad because you don't get to move that piece at all. So let's continue onward. 10. So in this particular scenario, red cannot move this piece. So they'd go 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now let's go ahead and show you what the fire does. So whenever you draw a 2, you will move the fire, and then you move forward 2 spaces. So moving forward 2 spaces, pretty self-explanatory, just 1, 2. But you also get to put the fire on something, and the fire is a really good special ability. So how the fire works is you will put it on one of the pieces on the board, generally always on your piece. Now, it's not going to do anything immediately. However, once it gets back to your turn, before you start your turn, you are going to move the fire token, if you choose to the next fire spot. There's only 4 fire spots at the corners of the board. So you essentially are going to get to move a huge distance before your turn even begins. And then you also get to draw a card. So move forward 11 or change places with an opponent. So we might go like, you know what? We probably wouldn't do that. We might just move this guy forward 11. So 1, 2, we'll just pretend it goes right here, there. So that is the special ability the fire does, but it also has an additional special ability. If you are able to successfully make it to your home with the fire token on you, and you will lose the fire token as soon as someone else draws another 2, because every time a 1 or a 2 is drawn, you take the special ability token off that pawn and put it onto a different pawn. But if you can get to the home with the fire token, then you get to take another one of your tokens and put it to the home. So let's just say this guy just got home. You also get to take this pawn, boom, put it right there. So very, very powerful that fire token is. The other big thing I want to mention is the safety zone. If you are ever in the safety zone, no one can bump you, whereas everywhere else on the board you can be slid into, you can be landed on. If you're on a fire spot, then the fire guy might land on you just naturally moving around the board. And also, if you land on your own piece, then you can bump yourself back into start. But anywho, you're going to continue to go, moving the fire, moving the ice, moving all around the board, drawing different cards, until one person is able to get all their pieces into the home zone, at which point they will be the winner of Sorry. And that, in a nutshell, is how the game is played. Alrighty then, Sorry from Hasbro Gaming, the new edition. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. Before we do that, I do want to just speak about what's new with the game and my thoughts on what is new with the game before we get into the actual pros and cons. So the new things, first one is now instead of having to get 4 pieces from your start to your home, you'll have to get 3. I'm a fan of that. That shortens the length of the game, which I think is always a good thing. The other new thing with the game is that now you don't have to get a 1 or a 2 to get out of your start space. You can get any positive number. That is a huge improvement on the game, I think, because it always was super frustrating when you could not get a 1, a 2, or a sorry and get out of your start space, and you're just stuck there. And it wasn't any fault of your own. It's just, oh, I can't draw the right card. 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 And that's super frustrating. I just don't like that. It's the same with Trouble, where you have to get a 6 or I think a 1 to get out. If you just can't roll it, then you just can't roll it. And that's frustrating. So I think that's another big improvement with the game. The last big change is, of course, the fire and ice power-ups, which we'll go over. The ice power-up I don't have as much of a problem with. You're always going to play it on someone else, and it's kind of just it's a little bit of a block. However, it can be super annoying. I don't have a problem with it. I would prefer not to play with it. I'd rather just play the original game or the game without it. But the fire token, I do have a problem with. The fire token is just crazy, insanely powerful. It needs to be nerfed. The fire token, if used the right way, is going to let you move 15 spaces on your turn and get to draw a card. So potentially even more than 15 spaces on your turn. Not to, like, if that was the only special ability that the fire token had, it would be ridiculously powerful as is. However, with the addition of if you can get the fire token piece into your home spot, you get to take another of your pieces and put it in the home spot. That's insanely powerful. That's ridiculously powerful. You can literally go from last place to first place just like that, because you can take one from your start zone and move it into your home zone. And I do not like the fire token. I don't have that big of a problem with the ice token, but the fire token is just so crazy imbalanced that no, I'm not a fan of that. But let's go over the pros and cons of the game itself. So first on the con side, 2 to 4 players, very restricted player count. Also, the game is completely random. Now, you do have some choices of what you do, when you move. Do you move backwards and try to just, skip going all the way around the board? With the knowledge that I think there's only 2 or 3 cards that potentially are going to move you backwards. So, but there are still very few choices in this game. Another con that I had with the game, there's not really much artwork. If you're a fan of artwork, there's nothing really here that's going to appease you, even though I do like the cover art, but I wish there was more cover art on the board itself. It's a mass market game. It is what it is. It's a very simple, random game. If someone just happens to draw all the right cards, they're going to win every single time. If they're the person that's 3 spots away from home and they just happen to get 3 on that first time, then they're probably going to win the game. So it's very, very random. It's very luck driven, which is going to be a turnoff to some people. Restricted player count, and that's what I got on the cons. Oh, and that and the Fire Ice. I don't like the Fire and Ice that much. Moving on to the pros. I played Sorry as a kid. I have a soft spot for Sorry. My son won this game of Sorry. I was very excited to try what they had done differently with this game, and I will say, I think they made some really good changes to the game, and if you take away the fire and ice, I think this is a game that a lot of kids are going to like. Do I think it's an adult game that adults should get around and play? No, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of better adult games, but as a kid's game, I like this game. I like this game as a kid. I like it now. My 3-year-old son plays it. He really enjoys it. He thinks it's just the funniest thing in the world when he slides me or bumps into me or lands on me. And it's fun enough that as an adult, you will have fun playing the game with your kids. It's a great family game. It's the kind of game that grandma, grandpa can play because it's so old that they know it and they're familiar with it. And yes, there are some new rules, but I think most people are going to like those new rules. They have stripped some of the frustration. They stripped the time link. They stripped the frustration away, and I feel like those were really good changes to the game. So overall, Sorry. It's a classic game for a reason, but I feel like the new touches they put to the game are all improvements except for the fire and ice token. So that is Sorry. Oh, and another big con, it's dirt cheap. I think it's like $5 or $6 at Walmart most of the time. So that is Sorry from Hasbro Gaming. One I can recommend playing with your kids. With adults, not so much. Go get something else. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. Comments below. Let me know. Sorry or Trouble, which did you prefer more as a kid? Well, I like the Pop-O-Matic dice better. I still feel like I like this game a little bit better just because of the card variety. I like the 7. You can divvy it up between 2 spots. I feel like there's more strategy in this game than there is in that game. Not to say that there's much strategy in this game, but I like Sorry better. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.